Hello buddies, welcome back to the channel. Today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to draft a basic bodice block using the Natalie Bray method. If you're just joining us here for the very first time, thank you for joining us. My name is Joy and I'll be your tutor for this channel. Now for the basic bodice block, these are the tools you'll be needing to draft your basic bodice block. The bodice block is the foundation in which every other block is developed, and it is of utmost importance to learn how to draft your own basic bodice block, as this is going to serve as a time saver for you to develop other styles you'll be needing. Now in this tutorial, we'll be learning how to draft this standard basic bodice block pattern using the Natalie Bray method. There are other types of blocks such as the simplified block, the trade block and the tailoring block, but for the purpose of this tutorial we will be focusing on the standard basic block pattern, which is especially useful in bespoke dressmaking and high-class custom sewing. Now before we delve right into the meat of this tutorial, let me introduce you to the table of average measurements and proportions. These are average body measurements in which nothing has been added for fit. Now see this as a formula in drafting all sizes of the basic bodice block pattern. Modifications can be made to fit accurately to your body, especially if your own size does not exactly fall into any of the table or columns. Now let's get right into the meat of this tutorial. To draft your basic bodice block, you should have a rectangular paper of at least 75 cm in length and a width of half of your bust circumference plus 5 cm, or half of your hip circumference plus 3 cm, depending on the part that is bigger. So basically, if your bust is bigger, you want to use a length of 75 cm and your bust measurements divided by 2 plus 5 cm. Please note that all the measurements we are going to be using for this tutorial will be in centimeters. I'm using the metric system for this tutorial. If you're used to using inches, that's the imperial system, you can go ahead and do all your conversions. Then you follow through accordingly, converting it as you go. This will help you, but I'll advise you use centimeters so that it will be easy for you to follow through in this tutorial. Now let's get right into the tutorial proper. When you want to start your basic bodice block, the first thing you want to do is to, from the left part of your paper, that's the place closest to you, you want to come in 2 centimeters. This is going to be your center back, and on the opposite side also you want to come in 2 centimeters, which is going to be your center front. Now from the top you want to come in 3 centimeters. Now this is not entirely compulsory, but it is a good practice to have. This new line at the top that you see me drawing like so is going to become our top line. So I'm going to go ahead and rule this new line and then label it as our top line. Now for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using my own body measurement, which falls under the IV line, that's the fourth line on the table of average measurements and proportion. At the center back from the top, come down 3 cm. The point O for all measurements can be found on the table of proportion. Now from point O, we are going to be getting 3 measurements, 3 points on that center back. The points that we are going to be getting are our waist point, that's the line that we are going to be extending from that point, the hip point, and also the bust point. Then we are going to be using these points to derive other points that we'll be needing for our measurement. So there I've gone ahead to mark out the waist point, that's for the waistline, which in my own case is 40 cm. Now to get the hip line from that waist point, you're going to be coming down 22 cm to get the hip point. Now after that, I'm going to go ahead to get my bust point, which is 21.5 cm. Now I'm using points in this case because we are still working on points. Now after getting all the points, we are going to be extending it, squaring them out horizontally to now give us the line. So here I'm marking my bust point, the waist, that's going, the bust point is going to be the waistline. Let me call it the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line. Now after I've done that, the next thing I'm going to be deriving is the back line. Now for the back line, to find the back line of my measurements, I'm going to be getting the midpoint between point O and the bust line. In my own case, it's approximately 11 cm, so I've gone ahead to mark that and also label it as my back line. Now to get my shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down 3 cm from point O. This 3 cm is fixed for all sizes, and I'm going to be labeling that my shoulder line. Now it's time to square out all these points. That's the shoulder line, the bust points, the back, the bust line, the back line, the waistline, and the hip line. Now for the shoulder line, you just want to square it out a bit. Then for the shoulder line, you just want to square it out up to halfway through your paper. Then for the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line, you are going to be squaring it out all through to the center front, because they are going to be same with the center front, back line, waistline, and hip line. So for the back line, waistline, and hip line, we are going to be squaring that all through to the center front. So here what I'm doing basically is to go ahead and label out my line so that you do not get confused. So there, here, this is the back line, the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line. I'm also going to go ahead and square out my point O so that I start working on my neck. Now working on the neck width, this can be found on the table of proportion. In my own case, my neck width is 7 cm. After marking it from center back, I'm going to be coming up 2 cm to find a point. And then this new point we just marked out is going to be called our NP. That's the neck point. So I've gone ahead to rule this perpendicular to the line on point O and mark that NP. On the back line, you divide your X back, that is across back, measurement by 2, and then you mark on that line. In my own case, it's 36 divided by 2, which is 18. Now through this point on the back line, you want to draw a vertical line that is parallel to your center back, just crossing it approximately 4 cm up and 4 cm below. Now on the bust line, you want to divide your S back by 2 and then you add 5.5 cm. You divide your X back, that's your across back, by 2, then you add 5.5 cm. Now when you've done this new point becomes your underarm point. That's UP. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that and label it UP. Now along the shoulder line, you want to also measure your X back, your across back, divided by 2, and then you add 2 centimeters and mark on that shoulder line. This new point now becomes our shoulder point, and I'm going to be labeling that SP. So now marking out our SP, our NP, and our underarm points, it's time to now form the shoulder and also the armhole. Now going in with the French curve, you're going to be placing the curve like so, linking the NP to the center back with the curve on your French curve. And going in with the straight part of your row, your French curve or your ruler, you want to link your neck point to your shoulder point like you're seeing me do. After you've done that, the next thing we are doing basically is to mark out our armhole. Now for the armhole, you want to place your French curve in such a way that it touches that horizontal construction line, vertical construction line on the back line, linking the SP through that line and then placing the remaining parts of your curve so that it links that line and your underarm point. So basically you want to be placing it. You don't have to place the curve at once. You can just be manipulating it so that it gives you a fine curve that passes through the shoulder point, the vertical construction line, and then the underarm point. Now to get our hip point on our pattern paper, you want to divide your total hip by 4 and then you mark on the hip line. So in my own case, my hip is 98, so yeah, I'm gonna have to do 98 divided by 4 and then I've marked the value on the hip line. What next thing to do is to link your underarm point to your HP, which is your hip point. Link it with a straight rule like you're seeing me do. After this, from the point where this line meets at the waistline, you want to come in 2 cm inwards and then you mark. Now these new points become your waist points, and using the slight curve on your French curve, you want to be linking your underarm point to your waist point like so. Now coming into the shoulder, you want to compare the shoulder on your pattern to your actual shoulder. Now in my own case, the shoulder on the pattern is 1.5 inches longer than the shoulder, my actual shoulder. So here is either you shorten it or you form a shoulder that's at the mid shoulder. So here basically I'm not forming a shoulder, that what I'm doing is to shorten it. So I've gone ahead to mark that in, taking in that 1.5 inches extra, and then I'm going to be erasing and eliminating that extra part. But you can also do this you can also achieve this by putting a shoulder that's right in the midpoint of your shoulder line. Now coming into the front of our pattern, point O in the front is 3 cm higher than the back point O, so it goes up to the top line. Now for the front, from point O, you want to come down at the center front line. You mark your shoulder line, which is 4.5 cm. Then the next line is your base of the neckline, which is 7.5 cm in my case, and can go as far as 8 to 8.5 in larger sizes. To get our chest line, you want to come up 4 cm from the bust line. Remember, the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line, we extended it from our back pattern. So now to get your chest line, come up 4 cm from the bust line, and then you mark a line that is parallel to it. Now square out all these points, extending them about halfway across except for the neckline, which should be only 10 to 12 cm long. So yeah, I'm just writing out the points for clarification: the shoulder line, the neck line, the chest line, and of course the bust line, waistline, and hip line, which we're already familiar with. Now along the top line from point O, measure your neck width. Yeah, I'm measuring out my neck width, which is the same as the back neck width, 7 cm. Now with a French curve, or with the straight rule, the straight part, I'm going to be linking that neck point to meet with the neckline. That's the line for the neck base. I'm just going to be drawing a perpendicular line like so. What I'm trying to do basically here is to form our neck line. So now going in with your protractor, the curve should, we are going to be finding an angle of 45 degrees. We just want to form a construction line. Now along that angle, we are going to be ruling a line, and then on that line we are going to be measuring 3 cm just on that line. Now for this construction point, our curve should pass from NP through that 3 cm and then stopping at the center front, just at the base of the neck. So that is what I've gone ahead to do. From that MP, you want to place your curve so that it passes through the 3 cm point and then drops at the center front. On the shoulder line, measure from the center front 16.5 cm. This is standard for all sizes. And through these points on the shoulder line, we are going to be ruling a provisional shoulder seam or shoulder line from MP through these points, and just leave it unfinished. You just want to make it about 20 to 22 cm long. On the bust line, measure 1/4 of your chest measurement. That is your chest measurement divided by 4 from CF. In my own case is 9.5, and at this point on the bust line, we are going to be coming down 2 cm and ruling a vertical line parallel to the center front up to the shoulder. So your chest divided by 4, then you come down 2 cm and then rule a line that is going to be linking up to that shoulder, a vertical line that is parallel to your center front, linking up to the shoulder. Now this line is just a construction line. From this line we are going to be going out 2 cm. What we are trying to achieve here is to form our dart. Now in my own case, my dart is 7.5 cm wide, which is also on the table of proportion. So from that new point 2 cm, you're going to be marking out 7.5 cm and then linking it all the way down to that point below the chest line. So like you see me do, I'm linking it and then also linking the second dart leg like so. And after drawing out our dart, the next thing is to draw our shoulder seam by measuring from MP the shoulder length, which is 12.5 in my own case, plus the dart width of 7.5. So 12.5 plus 7.5 is going to be giving us 20 cm, and I've gone ahead to mark that as my shoulder point. Now on the chest line from the center front, you want to measure half of your chest width, which is 19 cm, taking into consideration the width of the dart at that point. So you're going to be adding the width of the dart, or you can just measure out your 19 cm, skipping out the dart. Then you mark the new point, that's 19 cm point plus the extra dart that you're going to be skipping out. You mark it, and then this new point on the chest line is going to become our chest point. So I've gone ahead to label that CHP. Now with a straight rule, link your shoulder point to your chest point like you're seeing me do. What we are now trying to do here is to draw out our armhole. So after linking your shoulder point to your chest point, you want to find the midpoint of this line and then you go in 1 cm. Now this 1 cm is just a guideline to placing your curve when you want to draw out your armhole for your front pattern. Now from your chest point, you want to draw a perpendicular line to the chest line, to the back line, the bust line like so. Just draw a perpendicular line, a vertical line that is parallel to the center front. Now to get our front bust width, we are going to be subtracting the total bust width of our pattern, which, remember, when we started drafting this pattern, the width of the paper was bust, half of the bust plus 5. So half of my bust plus 5 gave us 51, and here I'm going to be subtracting 51 from the back pattern. So I'm going to have to mark out the back pattern, which gave me 23.5. So 51 minus 23.5 is 27.5 cm, and that's what I'm going to be using for my front width. That's the bust width for the front. So yeah, I've also taken into consideration that width that was marked at that bust line. I'm going to be adding that as well. So 23.5 to get is now my bust width. So after this, the next thing I'm doing is to find at an angle of 45 degrees to that point. I'm going to be marking a line like so, and after marking this line, on that line you want to measure 1.5 cm, find a 1.5 cm point on that line. This is also going to serve as a guideline to placing your curve to draw out our front armhole curve. So here with my curve, I'm going to be linking the SP to that 1 cm point, then linking it to the new 1.5 cm point on an angle of 45, and then linking it to the underarm point, which is the point on the bust line. So yeah, you can do this just linking 2 points together. Place your curve in such a way that it sits well. Like in my own case, I was able to get the SP, the 1 cm point, and also the chest point. Then turning it well, you're going to be linking that 1.5 cm to the underarm point. Now the armhole should dip slightly below the bust line before reaching the underarm point. Now on the hip line, we are going to be marking out our hip. In the case of this front pattern, our hip is the hip divided by 4 plus 3 cm for ease. Now this point on the hip line now becomes our hip point. Now going in with a straight rule, just like we did for the back, you're going to be linking the underarm point to your hip point. Then at the point where this line intersects with the waistline, you'll be going in 1.5 cm at the waist. With the slight edge of your curve this time around, you're going to be linking the underarm point to the waist point, just like we did for the back pattern. Now to work on the lower waistline, from the waist point in front and the waist point at the back, come down 0.5 cm below this waist point on the sides, and then come down at the center front 1 cm below the waistline. Now to draw the final waistline, link these points together. In this case, I'm going to be using broken lines because I might use it, I might not use it. So I'm just doing this to show you for illustration purpose. So I've gone ahead to link the 1.5 cm at the side waist and also 1 cm at the center front. Now linking this for the back, 1.5 cm at the side for the back, and then to the center back. Now after this, the next thing we are going to be drawing is our true bust line, which is 4 cm below the bust line and then parallel to it. So here from the bust line, you come down 4 cm and then draw a line that is parallel to it. So yeah, I've gone ahead to label this our true bust line. Now to get our final shoulder line, what I'm going to be doing here, what you should be doing is close up your two dart legs like so, in such a way that the two lines meet each other perfectly. So you're going to be closing this out. When you do this, you will notice that at the shoulder line, the lines on both sides of your dart does not match. So now you're going to be redrawing your shoulder line, linking your neck point to your shoulder point with a straight rule. When you're done linking this, you're going to now redraw you're going to be drawing your dart heads basically, so that when you cut out your pattern and you're stitching your patterns and closing up your darts, these 2 points is going to meet perfectly without any shortening. So yeah, I've linked the SP to the neck point, and then the next thing I'm going to be going out to do is to draw our dart heads. To draw the dart heads, you want to extend the point, the line from the shoulder point to meet at that crease, and then you extend this other line to meet at the crease like so. So guys, I want you all to pay close attention to this section of this tutorial. This bodice we just drafted is in loose fitting around the waist, and it can be used for loose or free clothing that doesn't need that. But to give it a more closer fit for fitted garments, we will be putting in that. Now to do this, the final waist should be 4 cm to 5 cm extra. So since we are cutting this on half, that's we are working on half part of the body, this will be 2 to 2.5 cm extra. Now depending on what you want, this can be less or more. Like in corset garments, you can go way lower, and then if you want to make free garments, you can just leave the cloth as it is. Now to be able to put that in this our pattern, we are going to be doing what is called the waist reduction. Now to find the total waist reduction, we are going to be measuring out our waist starting from the center back, measuring it down to the side seam, and continue measuring it from the front until you get to half of the waist plus 2 to 2.5 cm. So in my own case, my half waist is 35 cm plus 2 cm, which is 37 cm. So the next thing you want to measure out is to find the remaining part, that's the extra. In my own case, it is 11 cm. Now this 11 cm, I'm going to be sharing it between the front and the back. I'm going to be giving the front 6 cm and then the back 5 cm. Now, when you're waist shaping, there is a fixed amount that must be taken for both the front and the back. This fixed amount in total is 5 cm. So for the back, center back, inside that 5 cm that we are going to be taking, which is a fixed amount, we are going to be taking 2 cm for the center back, 1 cm for the side back, 1 cm for the side front, and 1 cm for the center front, which is going to give us 5 cm extra. Now this 5 cm is a fixed amount that must be taken. So here I'm marking my I've marked my 2 cm for the center back, 1 cm for the side back, 1 cm for the side front, and then 1 cm for my center front. Now this 1 cm in center front is very important, especially if you're going to be putting a seam on that center front. But if there won't be any seam, then you just have to extend it to the neck point, and then you leave it like so. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is going to be giving us 5. So here for the back has already taken 3 cm. The front has taken 2 cm. So meaning that for the back, the remaining part is 5 minus 3, which is 2 cm. For the front, 6 minus 2, which is 4 cm. So now it's now remaining 3 cm to reduce for the 2 cm to reduce for the back, and then 4 cm to reduce for the front. Now I'm going to be linking this our new center back to our chest line, or our back line, sorry. Now this new center back is very important because naturally our back is not straight. There is a natural curvature at the back, so you want your zip sitting sitting flat on the back. You don't want bulge, especially at that waist area. So I'm gonna have to extend this line up to our neck point, crossing at that back line. That extension is important, especially if your center back is going to be on fold, so you still want it to be straight. The only implication is just that the neck would be a bit wider, which is quite insignificant, and it will not disrupt the fit of your garment. So here I've gone ahead to mark out the side, the reduction at the side. I'm also going to be doing the same for the front, and also just like we did for the center back, we are going to be linking the reduction at the center front up, crossing the chest line, up to the neck point, or up to our neck. Now, like I said, this extension is important when there's not going to be any seam at that point, because of course when you're doing something on fold, you want it to be in a straight line, you don't want it to be curved. But please, if you're going to be putting a zip either in front at the back, or you're going to be putting a seam, then please, by all means, you must not extend it to the neck. You can just stop it at the chest line for in the case of the front, and the back line in the case of the back. So yeah, I'm just shading out that part which is going to be cut off. Now it's time to work on the waist dart. For the position of the waist dart at the back, you divide the back width into 4, which is 9 cm in my own case. Now you want to draw a line which is parallel to your center back. You can make it parallel to your old center back. Remember, we now have a new center back and an old center back. So I've done 9 cm for my own, that's chest width divided by 4, 9 cm in my case, marking it at that waistline from the center back. Now at this point, you're going to draw out a vertical line parallel to the center back. I made it parallel to my new center back, so if you look at it, it's a bit slanty. It's not at exactly 90 degrees, so it's not perpendicular to that line, it's a bit slant. So I've drawn that up and down. Now remember, the remaining waist for the back is 2 cm. So we are going to be taking that 2 cm, we are going to be sharing it on both sides of that line, 1 cm on the left and 1 cm on the right. So that's what I'm doing right now, 1 cm on the left, 1 cm at the right, to now take that 2 cm for the back. Now for the dart length below, you're going to be coming down 14 to 16 cm below, and then 12 to 13 cm above, just 14 to 16 cm. But in my own case, I'm using a 15 cm, I'm just finding the midpoint. So yeah, I'm coming down 15 cm below, I'm marking that out, and then above I'm going to be going 12.5 cm above and marking that out as well. Now after doing that, I'm going to be drawing out our dart legs to meet at that point above and the point below. Now going in for the front, to find the position of the dart in front, you'll be dividing your chest width divided by 4. Just find 1/4 of your chest width. In my own case, it is 9.5, so you'll be dividing this chest width into 4. Now you're going to find that 9.5 on the waistline. So make sure that 9.5 is from your original center front line, please, not on the new center front line. So you're going to be marking it from the original center front line so that it meets with the point, that shoulder darts at the true bust line or on the bust line. So when you've done this, you want to draw a vertical line which is parallel to the center front, up and down, just like we did for the back. From below, you're going to be coming down 14 cm to 16 cm below, and then you're going to be going up 12 to 13 cm above. Now remember, our extra dart for the waist, front waist, is 4 cm. So here on this line, I'm going to be taking 2 cm on the left and 2 cm on the right, and then joining the dart legs just like we did for the back. Please, if you're enjoying this tutorial, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Click on the notification bell icon so that you get notified whenever we post new videos. Also hit the like button, which is going to help our channel to grow on the platform. Thank you so much to my old subscribers for always coming back to watch my videos. Thank you to my new subscribers for stopping by. Thank you so much to all my viewers, and I hope you subscribe to our channel as we bring you educative and fun sewing tutorials and just everything concerning sewing, pattern drafting. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. So here I'm shading out all the darts, all the parts that we'll be cutting out from this pattern. So the waist darts, the side darts. Now one thing you want to do after you've done this is to draw using a French curve to link the new waist point to the hip point with your French curve like you're seeing me do. So we are going to be doing this for both the front and the back. And then after doing this, going in with the straight row, you're going to be linking the the new center front and the new center back to your hip points at the center front line. So like you see me do, just with a straight row, you want to relink these points together, doing it for the front and also doing it for the back. So yeah, I've gone ahead to level out the back. This is the back pattern that we just drafted, and this is the front pattern. Just see how beautiful everything is looking. Here I'm joining the new center back to our hip line at the center back line, and then shading that area out just to show you that that area is going to be cut out. It is not part of our final pattern. Now one last step, just to show you in bold all that we've been doing so that you appreciate it better. I'm going to be marking this out in a bold ink so that you see it better and appreciate what we've been doing. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I hope you were able to get value for your time. Please, just a reminder, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We bring you educative and inspiring sewing tutorials and pattern drafting tutorials here on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram at Way by Armhole. You can follow us on Facebook as well. We are also on TikTok. We are also on Pinterest. Do well to check out our social media platforms or our social media accounts, and also follow us there as well. Thank you so much for coming with me on this educative tutorial, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.